Welcome, everybody, to our 2025 Insider Chat here at the Bay Area Ridge Trail Council. And we have an exciting event with lots of great news and progress to share. So I just want to do a quick land acknowledgement. We are on native land. The Bay Area Ridge Trail travels through traditional territories of the Miwok, Pomo, Wapa, Patwin, Karkeen, Kochenyu, Mutsun, Awaswas, Tai-Mi-In, Muwekma, and the Ramaytush-speaking peoples, among many others. They cared for the land long before the Ridge Trail existed, and their descendants continue to play a vital role as stewards today. The Ridge Trail travels through many different landscapes, and each has a unique history and indigenous community with a connection to that land. We're encouraging all of you to explore and support the Ridge Trail and learn more about the Native communities whose lands you live, work, and recreate on, and learn about their history and the work they're doing today to preserve their land, culture, and sovereignty, and support those communities whenever you can. Thank you. Next slide, please. So again, welcome to the 2025 Insider Chat. We are going to have as I said, a wonderful and fact-filled event today. I'm going to do a quick review of our agenda. We'll open with Janet's welcome and some 2024 highlights. Ryan and the trail team will then share current trail progress and exploration. Nat will take us through this year's events and outings. We'll share some exciting updates on the Ridge Trail Action Fund. And we've planned some extra time at the end for Q&A. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to add them in the chat or the Q&A. We'll be keeping track of that as we go through. And now I'd like to turn things over to our Executive Director, Janet McBride.
Hello, welcome. Happy spring, everyone. We're really looking forward to sharing a Ridge Trail status update with you and going a little deeper with our closest friends and allies. So this is fun for us too. But before I start, I just want to kind of acknowledge the crazy times that we find ourselves in. It seems to me like the word unprecedented is really getting a workout. But amidst all the craziness, to me, it's comforting to know that we're building something that will be around for generations to come. And the fact that you're joining us today means that you value parks and trails as well. And so I hope that you're able to get out and enjoy the trails that you support. I hope you're making sure to get your batteries recharged and lift your spirits by time out in nature. And that's definitely advice that I need to take to heart myself. Spring is probably my favorite time of year because of the green hills and wildflowers, and they just make me smile and make me take a deep breath. So even though the daily news can be sort of hard to take these days, today we have some really good news to share. So before we get into the updates, I want to start with some introductions and appreciations. So next slide, please. So this is our staff. We have a really hardworking, small but mighty, very talented team. And you'll hear from a lot of us today. I'm really proud of our team. And you should know that we want to be here to make sure you get whatever you need. So anytime you have a question, whether it's a question about the trail or an event or your donation, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Next slide, please. I also want to acknowledge our incredibly hardworking, talented board of directors. They provide leadership, expertise, dedicated support on and off the trails. They are great ambassadors and they keep us inspired. And if you come out to any of our events, you're very likely to be able to meet and talk to some of our great board members. Next slide, please. I also want to give a shout out to our newly elected officers. Our officers have just been elected to a 2-year term. So Taylor Jang is our chair, Deb St. Cyr is our vice chair, Alan Fox is our treasurer, and Suzanne Wilson is our secretary, and we thank them for their service too. And next, also last but not least, I want to recognize our incredible partners, agency partners, organizations, and corporate sponsors who support the council and our work. And also just a special shout out to the Coastal Conservancy that has supported the Ridge Trail for such a long time and supports us with our multi-year planning grants. Next, please. All right, so moving now to some highlights from since the last time we met, highlights from 2024. So as you insiders know, we celebrated the 35th anniversary of our very first trail dedication on May 13th last year. And then we've been celebrating all year the first 100 miles that opened in that first year. So all the sections that open, and we have been celebrating with a special logo and swag and contests and events all year long. And in January, next slide, please, we had a wonderful event at Huddart Park, which was where the first trail section opened. So this was a big group of us at Huddart in January. And next slide, yeah, other highlights of last year. We had two really significant openings. Our two biggest openings are pictured here. And both of them happened last August. Both dedications had multi-day events, great partner support, great community involvement. You see Calistoga Ridge Trail there on the right, where we dedicated 4.2 miles. So this is trail through Calistoga. It's also a section of the Napa Valley Vine Trail. And then on the left is a photo from Patwina Wartla Kodoi Dihi, a brand new open space park in the northern part of Solano. And we opened 2.1 miles on the Doris Klein Ridge Trail there. So these pictures are of the dedications, but obviously there was a lot more trail progress than just the dedications. And these dedications, in fact, usually have involved years and years, sometimes decades of planning, advocacy, coordination with partners, and fundraising. So there was a lot of progress all throughout the region on bringing forward the next sort of cohort of trail openings as well. And these dedication celebrations were just two of the events we had, and we actually had events all around the region and expanding our events like never before. In 2024, we put on our big signature events, and all told, we hosted 36 events and outings, and about 4,000 people came out and enjoyed the Ridge Trail. Next slide, please. So where do we stand? So today, 413 miles of the Ridge Trail are dedicated. We are extending longer and longer connected stretches on the west flank and the east flank of the Ridge Trail. And the question is, how are we going to get, what are we doing to open the next 150 miles of trail, the hardest sections of trail that remain for us to open. So next slide, please. There's really two pillars that serve as the foundation for our work. And you insiders have heard us talk about these before, I'm sure. But the first pillar is the gap analysis and action plan that we completed in June of 2020. And the other pillar is our strategic plan. So the comprehensive gap analysis was where we really went deep on each gap. We looked at the development timing associated with that gap. We looked at various initiatives to help expedite trail progress, like focused area plans, routing studies, managed access, and transportation crossings. And the reason I'm sort of refreshing our memory or reminding us about these is because they really set the stage for all the work that you're going to hear about in a minute. So just taking one last minute to talk about the strategic plan. Next slide, please. So these were just the big overarching goals in our strategic plan. One is to complete the trail, and you're going to hear about all the trail miles that we're opening this year. Also, we have several key initiatives that we'll talk about, the focused area planning in particular, and our managed access or BIT outings. We also, in our strategic plan, thought about, should we think about maybe going after National Scenic Trail status? Well, in fact, we are doing that. So you'll hear about that. And then in terms of the second big overarching goal, experiencing the trail, we're just having more events, more different kinds of events that welcome new audiences and make sure we're bringing more people out to enjoy the trail. We're also working on tools that can help people get out and enjoy the trail on their own, maps and apps. Circumnavigation is also a big thing. I know many of you joining us today either have circumnavigated or are circumnavigating. And then the last bucket is about building and sustaining the council, and you'll hear a little bit more about that as well. So next slide, please. I just want to remind you that bring us back to the theme, 25 miles in 2025. This is a big deal. I don't think we have seen 25 miles open in a year in decades, certainly not in the last 20 years. So again, we're looking forward to a really great year ahead. And that is my cue to hand it over to Ryan to hear about trail progress.
Thanks, Janet. Good afternoon, everyone. As Janet mentioned, we're quite excited about a large number of miles opening this year. Next slide, please. So one thing we wanted to kind of direct folks' attention to is just the amazing progression of trail mileage in recent years. Looking back at 2023, we had a pretty stellar year with over 13 miles of Ridge Trail being open and dedicated that year. Last year, a pretty good year as well, kind of a average amount for us in 6 miles. And then in this year, looking at adding over 23 of primary miles and then a few more of non-primary miles as well, which I'll talk about in just a second. And as Janet mentioned, we had a strategic plan goal of 35 primary miles opening and being dedicated by the end of 2025, excuse me. And I think what the outstanding great news is we're looking to actually exceed that significantly, probably by more than 5 miles when we open and dedicate all the miles we're looking at doing this year. So we're looking at probably over 40 plus miles that are open and dedicated throughout the period of our strategic plan. Next slide, please. So looking at this year, 2025, we are looking at this milestone of 25 miles being opened in the year of 2025. We have a pretty decent geographic spread around the area as well. And again, this is looking at 23 miles of primary Ridge Trail being opened and over 2 miles of access, alternate, and parallel trails. And the rest of the trail team, our project managers, Kyvan and Ryan, are going to walk you through a few of those exciting openings in just a few minutes here as well. Next slide, please. So building on some of the things Janet mentioned as well, we wanted to give you a little sneak peek at some of the other initiatives that the trail team is really digging into this year in 2025. Building on the gap analysis, which has been this amazing blueprint and roadmap for the work that we're doing, we've been really diving in and leveraging the success of recent route studies. So you'll hear a little bit from Kyvan and Ryan on 2 of those that have happened recently. One that led to the Southern Loop Working Group, which Ryan will mention in a moment. And then also other route studies on the Napa and Solano border. And those have been successful. You'll hear about some of those highlights. And so we're looking at extending that into the areas around the Marin and Sonoma borderlands to help accelerate the gaps in trail construction in those areas. And then also looking at how do we get across a really complicated area in the Gilroy and Pajaro Valley down in the southern reaches of the Ridge Trail. So it's really taking the model of the gap analysis and just diving in deeper to see where we can leverage more trail access. The other thing we're doing is really deepening partner relationships. So you may have heard of our Carquinez Strait Scenic Loop Working Group that's been in existence since, I believe, 2008. And Kyvan in the North Bay has been really working deeply with partners there on a project he's going to share with you. And then more recently, building off of a route study, Ryan has been working with the Southern Loop Working Group, bringing together 6 different partners to really accelerate trail development in the South Bay. Next slide, please. And 2 other initiatives we wanted to share as well as deepening our work in circumnavigation. So this year we're looking at really adding additional resources. So Ryan's going to walk you through a few of the things we're doing that include some additional mapping resources. And then we've also already begun conversations with Elizabeth Byers, who's on the call today. Thanks for joining, Elizabeth, Boo Byers, to work on an update to the next Ridge Trail guidebook. And another piece we're looking at is stewardship. So as many of you know, we have our annual Ridge Trail Service Day. And this year, as part of a new strategic initiative, we're going to start doing a little bit of research with our partners and with other organizations to think about how the Ridge Trail can work more in stewardship. And that might mean partnering with other agencies to work together on stewardship initiatives or increasing other volunteer avenues as well. So we're going to begin the research and interview process to look at what that might look like in years to come. And I'll just mention, we don't have a slide on it, but Janet did mention the National Scenic Trails as well. That's another piece we're going to dive back into, but we've been working diligently on that over the last year. And currently we have 6 of the 12 Bay Area congressional representative delegates signed on to support us. So over the coming months, we're going to be working on reaching out to the remaining 6 in hopes of bringing something to Congress later this year. Next slide, please. So without further ado, I'll hand it off to Kyvan, our North Bay project manager, to give you the scoop on what's happened in the North Bay.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, once again, I'm Kyvan Ellip. I'm the North Bay project manager. And so the first thing we wanted to start out with is with this upcoming dedication of a bike parallel trail in Marin County. And just a quick reminder that a parallel trail is used when all 3 major uses cannot be accommodated on the primary alignment. So parallel alignments are enacted. We'll go into this a little bit more later, but just some brief overview is that this project is set to start between May and June of this year, and anticipated that the project will continue throughout the summer and be completed in the fall. And so this area specifically extends the Ridge Trail's complete multi-use north from Pantall Campground area, and on this side. And so just to set some context for the Ridge Trail, to the south is Deer Park Fire Road. And then to the north of this area, or to the, it's hard to describe. On the left side is the Matt Davis Trail, which is hiking only. And so that yellow highlighted line, the Easy Grade Trail, currently is only graded for hiking, but there's been proven to be significant need for bikes in this area, and it's this trail can accommodate that with some minor adjustments. And so we were able to connect donors and our partners to get this project started this year. And so the big highlights of this is that it takes bikers off of that blue highlighted Pantall Road. That's about 1.5 miles of busy road, and gets them off trail. So it'll increase safety for drivers and bikers alike. Great. And then the next slide, please. Another dedication we are also working on is with the City of American Canyon and Land Trust of Napa County to realign Ridge Trail in Solano County by dedicating a new access trail in Newell Open Space Preserve that's currently known as the River Trail. And here's a picture from the trailhead looking west towards Newell Open Space and Lynch Canyon Open Space. And then I'll highlight this specific trail on the next slide with a map, but dedicating this existing trail as part of the Ridge Trail network allows for people to access Lynch Canyon Open Space from American Canyon using the Ridge Trail. And then also this trailhead connects to the recently finished and open section of the Vine Trail that goes from the Vallejo Ferry up to this trailhead in American Canyon. So it will kind of serve as a nexus for various multi-use connections in the area and putting the Ridge Trail stamp right there. So if you go to the next page. So this is another one of those areas that Ryan was talking about, looking at some route studies. And so, one second. The dedication of that access trail actually came from the work that I've been doing to study the different alignments in the Napa and Solano area. I'm not going to go too into depth about every single thing on this map, but it's kind of just a broad overview of that. This area kind of faces a lot of challenges such as private land, large highway transportation crossings, and railroads. So there's a lot of moving pieces. And so outlining and highlighting the different work and other options that we have in the area allows us to pursue more of those short-term actions that will set us up for longer-term projects and connections in the area. So for example, that Newell River Trail that I was talking about allows us to engage with local partners and local city jurisdictions, and then also gives us a connection east-west from the city of American Canyon over to Lynch Canyon and possibly up to Cordelia Junction, up to Rockville, up to Petuino. So hopefully setting us up to activate and promote the area in a lot of new ways. Next slide. Another aspect that Ryan was talking about was the Carquinez Strait Scenic Loop Trail wayfinding program. So this working group was actually created in 2008. And so it's great that this work is culminating into this project. And so the working group's most recent project has been designing and installing these wayfinding signs along the Carquinez Strait Scenic Loop Trail on the Solano County side of the loop. And this scenic loop, if you're unfamiliar, connects the Alfred Zampa Memorial Bridge and Benicia Martinez Bridge through city streets and open space in the area. And so through Solano Transportation Authority's wayfinding signage grant program, we were awarded grant money to design and install these wayfinding signs. And you can kind of see that first one from design to installation there on the right-hand side. And this has just been a great way for us to leverage our relationship with partners in the area and looking forward to completing different parts of the scenic loop trail as we look into funding opportunities and other programs in the area. And with that, I'll pass it down to the South Bay to Ryan Britt.
Thanks, Kyvan. I'm Ryan. I do trail project management for the South Bay, and we're going to zoom out to the southern portion of the Ridge Trail in Santa Clara County. And if you're like me and get your coyotes confused, I'm here to offer some coyote clarification of our Ridge Trail sections. So starting at the top, we have Coyote Creek, which is our urban connection through San Jose, where we have upcoming dedications. Then going down, we have Mayan Oyakma Coyote Ridge, which we opened last year and has some wonderful wildflowers right now. And then we have Calero to Rancho Cañada del Oro. No coyotes there, but that's a dedication we have this year that we're really excited about. And finally, we have Coyote Canyon, sometimes called Coyote Highlands, which is an extension to Coyote Lake, RV Bear County Park. So if you don't have that memorized, that's okay. There's no quiz. But if we go to the next slide to share some more details about the dedication at Coyote Canyon, which will extend onto an existing section of Ridge Trail in Coyote Lake Harvey Bear. We're really excited for the opening of 2.6 new miles, where you'll get to experience some ridgeline views like this one, and then descend into some woodlands on the Ojo de Agua Trail. And we are excited to have a ribbon cutting for this section at the end of April, and a community day where everyone is invited out to come check out the new trails on Saturday, May 3rd. So if you'd like to be the first to check out this new trail section, come say hi on May 3rd. Next slide, please. Our next dedication is the Rancho Cañada del Oro Open Space Preserve to Calero County Park. So it's a 14-mile stretch of existing trail that crosses these two parks that will be branded as Ridge Trail. And this was the result of a big route study and is a section we're really excited about to drive the Ridge Trail to the south. We're going to be having a ribbon cutting on May 30th and another Saturday community day on May 31st. So more details will be shared on that. Hope to see a lot of you out there. You can go to the next slide, please. Another dedication I hinted at was actually 2 new segments of the Coyote Creek Trail in San Jose. So there's going to be Phelan to Tully, which will link a gap in our northern Coyote Creek Trail section. And Mayberry to Watson Park, which will go about half a mile south from the Berryessa BART. And then you can kind of circumnavigate through roads to the remaining of the Coyote Creek section. There's not a timeline set. They're still wrapping up construction for this, but anticipating celebrating these two sections spring of this year. And next slide, please. And just a teaser, construction is still coming along for the Southern Skyline Ridge Trail extension. This is south of the Fifield Cahill Ridge Trail in San Mateo County and north of Prisma Creek Redwoods. So this will be a 6.1 mile stretch of multi-use trail. Next slide, please. And it's fun to celebrate and recognize these dedications, but you also have to put in the work for new sections. And one way we're doing that in Santa Clara is with the Southern Loop Working Group, which, as we touched on, really brings together the major land agencies down here. The map to the right shows the different boundaries of all the 6 different land agencies. I really look at Santa Clara County as a quilt, and the Ridge Trail is kind of the thread running through it all. And so by bringing together these agencies, we get to talk about our trickiest gaps and drive the conversation forward. Go to the next slide. And some of the results, looking back at the map, one of our key gaps that we're looking at is an extension to Rancho Cañada del Oro. So the red circle shows the extension. Some of you may know it as the Blair Ranch property, but officially going forward, it will be part of the Rancho Cañada del Oro Preserve. But that'll link up with the 14 miles I was talking about earlier that run through the 2 parks. And this exciting extension is going through trail planning. There's a survey out to see what users are looking for out of this stretch of trail, which could even include a campsite, which we love to see in the South Bay. But really great collaboration with our partners, Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority and others. North of our new trail section, there's work being done at the Fortini property with Santa Clara County Parks. And this will actually connect the north end of Calero County Park to existing Ridge Trail in Santa Teresa County Park. And they're in the middle of design, looking at alternates to pass through this small parcel. The total distance will be 3/4 to 1 mile, but it'll just connect and allow for really connected hikes, bikes, horseback rides in this area. And the final exciting planning project is looking at our southern tip of the Ridge Trail. How do we get through the agricultural valley of Gilroy and link our 2 mountain ranges? And so we're excited to launch a route study this summer and see where it goes. And next slide, please. And the last thing I'll talk about is some of our new trails. We are all about helping users find their next trail adventure. And so one of those tools on the left is rolling out far out guides, which will be a mobile app, have the whole Ridge Trail route with waypoints to guide your hike and identify important waypoints like water sources, parking, campsites. It allows user comments so you can share updates on these waypoints as you go. And it's just a major app used by through hikers and other long distance trails. And second, we are excited to officially have rolled out some website enhancements. So if you go to ridgetrail.org, look up a trail page, you'll see a revamped summary of the sections where you can find your PDF map, elevation profiles, and just details before you go out on your hike. And finally, I want to plug our interactive Ridge Trail map that was released last year, but you can still find it on our website. Browse the sections, zoom, scroll, get the details you need, and invite everyone to use that. And feel free to reach out if there are features you'd like to see or comments you have on it. And I think with that, I'll pass it over to Alex for maybe a little live demo.
Yeah, so to go on to just a little live demo of where to find these great new trail tools, if you go to our website, ridgetrail.org, maps and trail tools, go to the trail maps here, it'll bring you to this page. and you can scroll down and see, you can filter through the different counties of the maps you're trying to find. You'll get a snapshot of each of the sections with mileage and access. And then if you click into one, then it'll take you to these new pages with a blurb on the side here, a snapshot of some of the important info, including directions to each side of the trail, a nice big map, a little All Trails plugin here that you can see the elevation profile, or click on this link here to open up the All Trails page for that trail. And then some photos as well, so you can get a feel for what this trail section looks like. And then if you want to keep just clicking through, you can go to the next segment and it'll just take you to the very next part of the trail. So those are our new map sections. And then you can also, from the trail maps page, you can access our interactive exploring map. And on this one, you can zoom around, zoom in. You can click on the sections, and that'll take you into a little bit more information to be able to zoom around. So that's just a little preview of those trail sections.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalia. I'm the event and volunteer manager at the Ridge Trail, and I'm here to share a little bit of what we've got going on. What's going on out on the trail. So we've been having an incredible spring season with lots and lots of events. Here are some snapshots of the events we've had so far. You saw the group picture from our New Year hike and share, our picture on the right from our super stroll. We got a surprise visit from Sports Basement, a partner and sponsor, and some snapshots from our VIT hikes as well. So we've been really working on increasing the different types of events that we're offering and then being present. So if we're not leading an event, being present at other people's events. And we've seen an incredible uptick in folks reaching out to us to be part of their events, which is a good sign. People are seeing us as a resource, as a partner in this outdoor agency world in the Bay Area. So yeah, let's keep going. We are less than a month away from our biggest celebration, our Adventure with a Purpose, Ridge to Bridge. And we are pretty sold out. There is the last few spots that I was able to open up. I just want to ask the chat real quick, anyone here registered for Ridge to Bridge, and what event are you registered for? While we're waiting for responses, I will say I want to put in a plug that we are looking for volunteers. So if you are not registered in doing one of our events, we are looking for volunteers to help out with aid stations and making sure that we are feeding and welcoming and keeping our participants safe. Oh, Murray, we'll have to send you a reminder. Those are coming out soon. But glad that you're joining us. So in the chat, I dropped a link for a volunteer link. Like I said, our aid stations need some spots to be filled. So if you're able to, please join us. You get lunch, some Ridge Trail swag, and entrance to the events. Karen, our 18-miler, what a trooper. Okay, let's keep on going. The Ridge Trail is for everybody. And in order to make that happen, we have to be very intentional in who we work with and what kind of projects we work on. So I am very excited to announce this new partnership. This is the first time I'm really sharing it, so really insider, with the Teen Tech Center at the Movimiento de Arte y Cultura Latinoamericana. If you're not familiar, this is a museum space in San Jose that has a studio, this whole tech studio where youth are taught how to produce videos, take photography, edit music, anything that has to do in that kind of world. So I connected with the director at that program, and we are taking a group of young filmographers to Mayan Oyakma to create a video project on that space. One focusing on access, and another video just focusing on what it's like to experience nature as a youth. So I'm very excited. We're going to go out next week to go check out some of those wildflowers that y'all mentioned in the chat. Another exciting thing that we launched this year is our scholarship program. So we are offering 35 scholarships this year to all of our paid events, covering costs for our ticketed events, offering support with gear if needed, and connecting folks with mentors. So the idea is to kind of make the Ridge Trail events more welcoming and less scary to attend, and bring in new faces and new experiences to our event. So that's what we're working on at the event side, and I'm excited to see how everything turns out. So far, we've given out 5 scholarships for Ridge to Bridge, which is really exciting. Yeah, off to Marie.
Alrighty. I'm going to jump back in with some special member-only events that we've started hosting and offering this year. We have smaller donor hikes and strolls. The stroll tends to be like under 3 miles, and a hike might be 4 or 5 miles, maybe up to 6. We have one in Helen Putnam coming up in May. In June, we have a number of other events that are happening. So we haven't scheduled that, but again, we're going to be back in La Honda in July. September, there's a fabulous Napa Solano 20th anniversary party celebrating the first trail there. That's part of a trail easement on the Skyline Wilderness Park. And we'll be hosting a gratitude gathering in Oakland in the Tilden Park, celebrating our Ridge Trail founding committee members and our 20+ year members. So that's a wonderful luncheon with a hike afterwards. So please put that on your calendar and save the date. We'll be sending out invitations later. And then a couple of other events planned for October and November to get people out on the trail together. Next slide, please. I'm going to turn it back over to Janet, and she's going to tell you a little bit about what's happening with the Action Fund.
Thanks. Well, we're coming to a close now with our presentation. I think you can hear how excited we are about all the trail progress and all the events and outings and everything to do. So yeah, we're just very energized and excited by everything that's going on. So I did want to just spend a minute to tell you about the Ridge Trail Action Fund. So the Trail Action Fund it's a quick action fund to provide timely and flexible funding where and when it's needed most. So it helps us overcome longstanding obstacles in completing the trail, helps us accelerate new trail development. It helps us be more active partners and leverage other grants and funding. And it also helps support all of our strategic initiatives. So next slide, please. So a few years ago, we launched a campaign as part of the Trail Action Fund to raise $500,000 and to add 50 miles in 5 years. And so thanks to generous supporters like you, the Ridge Trail Action Fund is really getting traction. And we believe we're going to be able to achieve or surpass these goals. So in the last several years, the last 4 years, we've been able to allocate $250,000 to 8 very wonderful trail projects. And one of the things the Ridge Trail Action Fund does is it leverages the funding. So we think we see a leveraging of 10x. And so we expect this $250,000 to leverage over $2 million for the Ridge Trail. And so I just want to highlight 3 of the really great projects that we've been able to fund through the Trail Action Fund. The first one here is Twin Peaks. This was a $25,000 allocation to San Francisco Rec and Parks, and it's going towards interpretive signs at the top of Twin Peaks. And this is an area where people can experience 360-degree views of the city and the surroundings. And it's just a spectacular location and a wonderful place to showcase the Ridge Trail. And there will also be like 1.2 miles of newly configured trail there as well. The second project I wanted to highlight is a $40,000 allocation to Rancho Cañada del Oro Open Space Park. This preserve is being extended to the south. You heard about it in the trail team report. So this is a grant that was made to Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority, and the project, the funding is going to be used to design and build 3.1 new miles of ridge trail, and also contribute to some signage there as well. We're splitting this grant. Half of it's being made was made in 2024, and half of it's going to be made in 2025. And then just the third project, Dan's Wild Ride, $25,000 allocation there went for a variety of purposes to help open a mile of new trail. So it's for some hand-built trail, some signs, and some other features that again are going to be able to have opened and close a true gap closure, connecting the trail in Angwin at Pacific Union College, making that connection to Moore Creek Park in Napa County. So those were 3 fantastic projects. And next slide, please. So far this year in 2025, half, but $20,000 is going to Rancho Cañada del Oro. And then through the Ridge Trail Action Fund, we were able to make a $118,000 contribution to make the Easy Grade project happen, the project that you heard about again from the trail team. This is truly a an example of how it can be a quick action fund to make something happen. It was the last piece needed to close the funding gap to be able to start construction this year. And we just want to do a special call out to very generous donors, Janice and Matt Barger, that made that contribution. This year in 2025, we have a goal to raise $200,000 for the Trail Action Fund, and we've raised $128,000 so far. So this is a call out, an invitation to you to help us reach our 2025 goal, and also to fulfill our 5-year campaign. So that's just a little bit about the Ridge Trail Action Fund. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Marie.
All right. Hi, everyone. Back here. All of your support helps build the legacy that is the Ridge Trail. And I just wanted to share a special way that many people choose to support the Ridge Trail. And we are going to do a quick donor spotlight. We mentioned, I think, Karen Rhodes before. Karen is a former board chair, and she has been circumnavigating the Ridge Trail. And as of today, Karen has 18 miles left until she'll be a full circumnavigator. And Karen also is one of our most recent Legacy Circle members. By naming the Ridge Trail in her trust, she's making sure that other people will be able to circumnavigate a fully connected Ridge Trail. Including the Ridge Trail in your will or your trust makes you a Legacy Circle member, and it is really one of the most powerful ways that you can support the trail's future. So if anybody's interested in learning more, you can just give me a call or send me a text. We'd be happy to show you how it's a very simple and meaningful way to leave a lasting legacy for the Ridge Trail for today, but for many generations to come. So we hope you'll consider supporting us in the many ways you can through your annual gift, through a Ridge Trail Action Fund gift, or even consider a legacy gift to the Ridge Trail. Next slide, please. All right, I'm just going to share finally, we want you to come out on the trail. We've thrown a lot of different events out at you, and we will make sure that we send a follow-up summary with all the different links. But just sharing quickly, we have a number of dedications and openings. And so highlighting our Saturday, May 3rd is our Coyote Canyon Ridge Trail dedication and community celebration. Friday, May 30th is the Ridge Trail dedication at Rancho Cañada del Oro. And Saturday, May 31st is a community celebration there also. So we are hoping we'll see you at one of these events, at Ridge to Bridge, or any of our other donor hikes. And we're just so appreciative that you're able to join us today and that you're there. Most of you as many long-term supporters and members of the Ridge Trail making our work possible. So extending a big thank you to everyone. We do have time for questions. And so if you would like to stay, you can stay on and our trail team will stay here. You can ask questions in the chat or kind of raise your hand. We can make this a little bit informal. But those of you that need to head out onto your day, thank you for joining us. And we're opening the door for questions right now.
And I'll chime in. There was one question from an anonymous attendee that we're going to dish back over to Ryan again. He did a great response in the chat, but just in case others have the same question, asking if we could give some tips on using the trail tracker. Am I able to download it and do my own tracking? And so Ryan, I don't know if you want to explain that to some of the folks that might be interested as well.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Just highlighting some of the cool tools we have on our Ridge Trail website. Under the Trail Tools tab, we have a Planning Navigator spreadsheet, and a second tab in there is actually a trail tracker. And so it's formatted so that you can print it out or make your own copy to keep track of all the Ridge Trail sections you've done or have not done. And if you go to that link, you can, under File, find options to make a copy to your Google account. You should be able to download it to a spreadsheet or PDF, or you could also print it from that link.
Thanks, Ryan. That's great. We're monitoring the Q&A. If any folks have any other questions, feel free to pop it in there, or as Marie said, raise a hand.
Yep, and I see Bruce is asking if we have a link to the presentation. We will make it available. Give us until probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, and we'll put the recording on the our YouTube channel and send out an email with a link to it for everybody. And we can make, we'll work on whether we're making the slides available intact or we'll do summary. Tim Morgan is saying, with so many gaps in the North Bay, what are the barriers to closing some of them? A general answer to that.
Happy to chime in, and Kaiven as well, and North Bay project manager. I know Janet's been working on this a while too. You know, I think there's multiple issues. The North Bay is quite complicated. Often there's issues of private property, multiple boundaries, lines to cross. Yeah, in particular, the number of parcels in certain areas. And so I'll just say we do have a deepening relationship with our partners in the North Bay. So both in Napa and in Sonoma County with regular meetings with those partners. I know Kaiven and I are actually, this is the inside scoop, we're going out with the partners, particularly to some of these boundary lines and this year to get a feel for where our route could go. We also sometimes get approached by citizens, private citizens in the area asking how they can help. And wondering about linking up sort of trails on private property, shaded fuel breaks, things of that nature. So there definitely are things behind the scenes that we're working on, trying to figure out what could be the path forward that is something that is a benefit both to private landowners as well as to trail users in the area. Janet or Kaiven, I don't know if you want to add anything to that as well.
Yeah, Ryan, I think you covered it really well, but just, you know, as an example of one of the evolving things a little bit more about, Ryan mentioned that shaded fuel breaks. So if you think about the route heading up from Sonoma up to Napa, where the Ridge Trail route runs along the county line, that's one area. And then at the other side, coming down from Moore Creek Park, connecting down to Solano County is another area where we're exploring the possibility of a partnership where the trail could serve a function as a fire break, as emergency access, and perhaps the Ridge Trail can be a helpful convener and also maybe provide some funding for the trail to serve as an easement along private property to serve those multiple benefits to the communities as well. So that's just a little bit more about some of the things we're looking at in the North Bay.
And I'll add just a plug for some of the work Kyvan's doing, similar to what Ryan's done in the South Bay as well. The route studies really often take a look at some of these key areas. And one thing we found is often we think a lot of the easy miles have been done. However, sometimes we find little nuggets of existing trails that we can piece together for an alternative route. And that's what we've done in the South Bay, and that led to the 14.1 miles that are opening there. Kyvan's found a few nuggets like that up in the North Bay too. And so there might be others. And so that's why we're digging into areas like the Marin-Sonoma border, as well as the Napa-Solano border. So those route studies really help us to kind of look at that and maybe figure out if we need to deviate from our long-term planned route. We might be able to find something else that makes the connection for us. So that's just another possibility as well.
Thanks, everybody. We so appreciate you joining us. We definitely hope to see all of you at one of our many events. We will follow up with links to celebrations, openings, donor outings, and appreciate all your support.
Thanks, everybody.